On this short episode of Locked On Illini, I wanted to show some appreciation to the heart and soul of this Illini basketball team. And that's Tomislav Ivisic.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me on all your favorite social medias. Do a quick search for Locked On Illini. Send me a message. Say hello. Say something nice. Say something not so nice. Just keep it constructive. If you'd like to support the channel here, make sure you're subscribed while you're watching. And of course, since you're watching it anyway, go ahead and hit that like button. Today's episode, I kind of wanted to show a little weekend appreciation for the guy I've been talking about essentially all season long, and that's Tomislav Ivisic. Saturday, Will Riley had 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists in what was his career game of his relatively young college career. Kasparas Drakushonis looks like he's returning to form with 24 points, I believe, and 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Again, just 2 stellar performances from 2 of the most heralded freshmen in the entire country. And yet, when I watched Brad Underwood's postgame press conference after my postgame show right here, the first guy that Brad wanted to talk about and shout out was Tommy Ivisic. And this is what Brad had to say. I thought the performance of the night was Tommy. If you could see his ankle, it looks like a really quite enlarged Cabernet grape. It is black and blue, and it is nasty. He has done nothing for 2 days but live in recovery. No shoot around today. Didn't know if he was going to play until really game time decision. He said he was going to play. Then 33 points, 18 rebounds. 33 minutes, 18 points, 11 rebounds. And defensively was just terrific. So my hat's off to him, because when you start getting that way, you start thinking about your teammates and not yourself. Again, I hope that the national narrative is starting to catch up on Tommy, which I've been talking about here at my everydayers in the chat. Please let me confirm that you've heard me say this before. I think Ivisic is the most important player on this basketball team for what he does. There's no one really who can replicate it. No, he's not going to go for 20 or 25 on a given night like the other freshmen might. But you know what? He's going to give you consistent double-doubles each and every night. He's going to be a playmaker for you as a big on the offensive end, and he's going to be your quarterback when it comes to the defensive end. I love Morez Johnson. Okay, Morez Johnson, I've talked about forever now, is one of my favorite, if not favorite, players on this basketball team. But he's a young Big Ten big, and the whistle tends to follow him, especially when it comes to the refereeing. Now, is it always a quick whistle against Morez? No. Again, Morez is young, and while he's a very good defensive player, he still has to learn sometimes to not put himself in certain positions where veterans that he's basically guarding know that they can get a quick foul out of Morez. And so Morez, in time, is going to learn, and I think he's going to continue to get better with that. But I truly am starting to think that the way Ivisic goes is how the team is going to kind of go. You see, when Michigan State kind of essentially took Kasparas out of the game, or I guess you can say the refereeing took Kasparas out of the game. Tomislav was very sick, and that's when, whether it was flu back then or whether it was mono, whatever it might be. Brad has talked about this several times, that he was so incredibly sick, and yet he gave out a very gutty performance. And by the end of the game, you kind of saw what I feel like were glimpses of what this offense can look like, with Tomislav being one of your primary, secondary playmakers at the top of the key. He's a veteran. He knows the right passes to make. And, while when it comes to the other freshmen, this is their first time playing at this sort of level, Tommy's done it. Tommy's in his 20s. He's played against grown men in Europe. He understands how important he is to this basketball team. Let's talk about Rutgers. Tommy comes down and rolls his ankle, and he's clearly hurt. So he goes back to the locker room and he gets things taped up, and he's like, hey, I'm going to try to give it a go. what happens at that point? We thought we were all holding our breath as Illinois fans. We're like, oh no, this horrible season could have just gotten even worse if all of a sudden Tomislav is gone. Tommy comes back into the game just a few minutes later, decides to check himself in, and he gutted it out. Sure, eventually he had to take himself out again, but then we find out why. And again, it's Brad Underwood saying, Tommy tried. He knows how much this team needs him, and he feels guilty. He is the ultimate teammate. So he wanted to go out there, and he gutted out an effort and tried to be a presence on the court. It's just his ankle at the time failed him. Let's talk about Minnesota now. Same thing. Brad just said, confirmed that he didn't even know if Tommy was going to play. Not only did he play, he had 18 points on 8 of 9 shooting, 11 rebounds, and he was one of our better three-point shooters. This is just one of those where I know there's other guys who are getting the spotlight shown on them, whether it's Kasparis all season long, essentially, and Will Riley more recently. And then, of course, the buzz with a lot of us Illini fans is the shiny new toy in the sense of Morez Johnson. And we all see what kind of ceiling he has potentially down the road as an all Big Ten big on this Illinois team in the future. But we might have one right now. And sure, Tommy's game isn't quite as video game friendly, but when you really think about it, he's clearly our best center that we've had since Kofi Cockburn. And I almost wonder, when it comes to all-around play, Tommy might be even better than Kofi. He's not going to put up Kofi's type of numbers, but Tomislav really is the perfect center for the type of offense that Brad is trying to build in Champaign. He's a guy who can shoot, he can play with his back to the basket, and he can be your playmaker at the top of the key and make the right pass to the right cutting teammate. He's a smart individual. He rebounds. And again, he's very vocal on the defensive end. And especially when you have a team as young as this, you need someone who you're confident can be the coach on the basketball court. And Tommy has had no problems taking on that role. Illinois is coming upon its most brutal stretch of the season when it comes to schedule-wise. They're going to be playing UCLA, Michigan State. Michigan will be coming up shortly thereafter. It's kind of a make or break point in the season for this Illini team. A team that's had a very up and down season. I think that's kind of fair to say. But while maybe a lot of the national media and a lot of the national fans are writing off this Illini team, it's because Tommy hasn't written anything off. The fact that he continues to want to play and be there for his teammates, I think we owe it to not just Tommy, but this basketball team to be there as well. They've made their adjustments against against the Gophers. And again, I'm going to be talking about this a little bit more in depth this week, so make sure you are subscribed to this channel. But Tommy, I did want to give you your flowers. Your play this year has not been talked about all that much, but it's clear how much this team misses you when you're not on the court. And I just wanted to give you your proper attention, and hopefully other Illini fans and a little bit more of the national media members really start giving you the credit that you deserve. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Locked On Illini. That's right, another day, another content on this page. It's February 9th, and I have produced content every single day of this year, 2025. So if you are an Illini fan and you've been watching this long, you might as well hit that subscribe button, because again, you're going to get daily nonstop Illini coverage right here. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.